What is flipped? What is this flip stuff I keep hearing about? Well, that's the question that we're going to answer today in this video. We're going to talk about what flipped is. I'm going to give you a basic background of what it kind of means, why it's important, and how it can help you as a teacher to help your students out. Specifically, how can we get more students moving towards that commended level? Last year from our data, what we realized is that we did a really good job with students passing the STAR exam. If you look at our scores compared to any other school in the district, we did very, very well. We're at the top. What we didn't do quite so well was get kids commended. So I'm going to talk to you about flipped and how we can move students towards that more commended level. Okay. So let's start off with the meaning. Okay. Flipped learning means providing students with direct instruction outside the classroom. So traditionally in a classroom, what you're going to do is you would sit students down, you say, all right, everybody get out your notebook, we're going to take some notes, I'm going to put them up on the board, we're going to talk about it, we're going to go through this together. And I just deliver the notes to every single student the exact same way. We spend the whole class doing that, and then whatever time we have remaining, we get to work on our assignment. And when the bell rings, well, what you didn't finish now is homework. Okay, so that's a traditional classroom. Flipped is flipping the traditional classroom. So what I'm trying to do is take that direct instruction and instead of delivering it in class, deliver it at home to the students. Why in the world would I want to do that? What's the point of doing that? Well, as an educator, you have to look at your classroom design and say, okay, I've got 47 minutes to help these kids to learn. And my single biggest priority is that these kids are learning. And research shows that the best way that students learn is by actually doing stuff, by working. So if my biggest priority is that they learn, and the best way they learn is by working, then I want to maximize the amount of work time they have in the classroom. So I have to take a step back and say, okay, what can I do to provide students with as much time as possible to work in the classroom. And so if I can take some of the time I spend on direct instruction and deliver that at home, and so that we have more time in the classroom, then I think that it's reasonable to assume that your students will be more successful kind of in the long run, because now they're in the classroom, they're working, and I'm here, I can facilitate where the actual real learning takes place, the nitty-gritty. Okay, so I've got this picture of a treadmill here, and on the treadmill is the word process, and he's got a sweatband on and he's sweating. He's doing work. Now, why would I put that on there? Well, part of the idea behind Flip 2 is, and we'll get more to this in a second, but it's differentiating learning. So some students learn and process information at a slow speed. So the process may be on walk speed on the treadmill. Other students process information really fast. They move really quick. They take the information super quick. So if I'm delivering instruction in the class and I've got these two different groups of students, if I just cater to the students who process information really fast, they like run through that information, I've got this whole other group of students that aren't processing it quick enough, and they're left in the dust, and that's not right. But the dilemma is, if I cater to the students that process information real slow, they're walking through it. The students that are fast lose their attention span, and the time they could be spending working is spent just listening to information being delivered in a slow manner when they could be working on stuff. So the idea with the flipped is, if I deliver an instruction through like a video, for example, and it could be a video I create, or it could be a video that I find on the internet, the origin of the video is not nearly as important as the content. So if I find a really good video on YouTube, and I tell my students, hey, tonight you're going to go home, you're going to watch this video, you're going to take some notes, you may take an online quiz, I want you to come prepared tomorrow to discuss what you saw in that video, and it's on YouTube. That's flipped instruction. I didn't create the video, but I'm delivering direct instruction. I picked out a video to deliver that direct instruction for me to my students, and it's outside the classroom. Doesn't require a whole lot of work out of me, but now instead of having the students do the work outside the class, now they're doing the learning outside of the class, and they're coming back, the introduction to the material, and they're coming back to me, and now we're going to sit down, we're going to work on an assignment, we're going to work on something together in the class, and really maximize our students' time in the classroom. So that's kind of the major push behind Flipped, and why Flipped could allow students to, rather than regressing to the mean and saying, okay, the really fast students, the really talented students, the creative students, the students that really are excelling and reaching high levels, we're going to bring them back to the mean, because we have to make sure we don't leave these students in the dust. So it kind of helps alleviate that dilemma that you have as a teacher, because you can't leave these students behind at the expense of getting the really high students. In a class, you're going to have a whole range of students, so it's a way to differentiate. Alright, so the idea is to free up class time, solve logistical issues, and differentiate learning. So we're freeing up class time, as I mentioned earlier, by delivering that direct instruction outside of class. The students come in with notes and the idea of what we're doing in class, and now we've got more class time to really focus on the work in the classroom. That's the meat of the learning. So we really want the focus of the classroom to be on that if we want our students to start achieving at a commended level. Solving logistical issues. I don't know about you, but if I've given a summative assessment before, and I've had a lot of students not do well, and a lot of gaps in knowledge, and a lot of students not meeting the minimum level of mastery. So as a teacher, we have a responsibility. We can't allow those gaps in knowledge to persist. We have to address that issue then and there. It's like going to the dentist. If a dentist diagnoses you with a cavity, it's better to get the cavity filled immediately rather than allow that problem to persist and to possibly end up losing the entire tooth and having to get a root canal. That's more expensive, more painful, more unpleasant. If you make that mistake one time, you will never do that again. Well, the classroom's kind of the same concept, the same idea. If you notice that there's gaps in knowledge as a teacher, you have to address those quickly, because those gaps are not going to fill themselves, and the longer those gaps exist, the bigger the issue is going to become. So logistically, how do you keep the class moving forward, but yet address those gaps in knowledge from previous assessments? Well, the Flipped is an example of a method to where you could actually say, okay, I looked at the summative assessment results. These are the gaps in the student learning, the ones that didn't meet minimum requirement. I'm going to make a video that addresses these gaps. I'm going to assign it to the students. The students are going to go home, they're going to watch the video, they're going to show up the next day, we're going to talk about it. Very short amount of time, maybe a minute or two, just to make sure, hey, we watched the video, we understand the mistakes that we made, we're ready to reassess. And then I'm going to give them a second assessment to show me, hey, yeah, I have mastered this. And if I haven't at this point, we have a serious issue, and that may require me calling and talking to parents and saying, look, we've tried this several times, there's still some gaps in the knowledge, we need to get this situation fixed quick and in a hurry. So that's another example of how Flipped can help solve logistical issues. And then finally, differentiating with learning. As I showed in the picture above, students process information at different speeds. So if you're delivering a video and you're watching a video of instruction and you tune something out, well, in the classroom, you can't really rewind the teacher. You can raise your hand and ask, but a lot of kids are not going to raise their hand and say, hey, I didn't get that, could you repeat that? They're just going to sit there and they're not going to react. So, but with the video, all they have to do is hit rewind. They can hit pause, go potty break, come back, hit play again. So it's more interactive with the instruction, and when it comes time for the test, they can go back and rewatch those videos that you've assigned to them, and they can review over those videos, and so it just serves the students better. Also, you're more transparent. Parents can go online and actually see your instruction, see what you're doing. So a parent can't say, hey, you never taught that. Well, I did teach that. It's in the video. Check it out. Also, with differentiating with learning, students that process information super quick, with the flipped model, if they're getting instruction provided to them at home and they get to class and they finish their assignment quicker than the student who processes information slowly, here's the key. Now you have an opportunity, you have class time, you can provide enrichment opportunities and activities for these students and say, hey, look, you finished this, I want you to take it a step further, and I want you to show me really, can you apply the information that you just practiced in class, and can you take it to a whole new level? Now, rather than having all the students kind of meet in the middle, what we're doing is we're saying, all right, the fast students, the students that are processing quickly, we're going to accommodate you, but we're not going to leave the other students behind. And so the flipped has a lot of different ways to apply it. And the key here is just understanding that with flipped, it just means I'm providing direct instruction. The box that flipped sits in is undefined. You determine how you want to provide that instruction and for what reasons. So if you ever come up with, well, how can I deliver direct instruction that will at home, and what can I use that extra time for in class? That's when you can use the flip. You can do it for one lesson, you can use it for reteaching, you can use it for your entire curriculum. You can set up a workshop style class. You can show, hey, go watch this 5-minute video on the Vietnam War. Take some notes, write down 3 cool ideas, let's come to class and let's talk about it. Now you've got a situation where the students are able to, and students learn online. We all are learning online. Like, I don't know how to boil eggs, but I want to boil an egg. Well, I go on YouTube, type in how to boil an egg, and I've got video after video after video showing me this is the steps you go through to boil an egg, and this is how you do it. So I watch and I listen and I process the information, and then I go and I boil the egg. That's how students learn. So now we're not just freeing up class time, we're not just solving logistical issues, we're not just differentiating with learning, we're meeting the kids where they learn the most. These kids are learning a tremendous amount of things just using YouTube. So thank you for tuning in, and appreciate your time.